Hello everybody and welcome to the Jaxon Show. I'm your host Jaxon Solomon, and today I'm going to be reviewing this weekend's games from both the NFL and college football. So first things first, we're going to start out with Michigan versus Ohio State. Now I'm sure if you didn't hear about it yet, you're going to hear about this game. Big time game for both Ohio State and Michigan. If Ohio State wins this game, they'll get to go to the Big Ten championship game. Michigan essentially nothing to play for except for pride and holding on to that feeling of beating your division rival. Starting out, you look at the score summary. We got a field goal from Jaden Feeling to start the scoring off. 3-0 Ohio State. Khalil Mullings runs it in, so it's 7-3 Ohio State. You got Dominic Zavad with a 54-yard field goal, making it 10-3 Ohio State. And Jeremiah Smith catching a 10-yard pass from Will Howard to make it 10-10. And then Dominic Zavada in the fourth quarter with 45 seconds left to go kicks the game-winning field goal to win the game for Michigan in Columbus. Your final score for this game was 13-10. Definitely a lot closer than some people expected. Ohio State was a 20-point favorite heading into this game. I'd say the biggest thing that impacted this game was the Michigan defense. They didn't give up a lot of points. They shut Ohio State's offense down, and they really did a good job on that defensive side of the ball, forcing 2 turnovers from Will Howard. And you look at the final stats for the good guys, the Michigan Wolverines. Davis Warren, 9 for 16 passing with 62 total passing yards and 2 interceptions. Wasn't a great game offensively, but you got the dub out. Khalil Mullings, 32 carries for 116 yards and a touchdown. He had an impressive game, although I think he came up a little injured late. And O'Leary, I don't know his first name, but he had 1 catch for 18 receiving yards. A big first down to move the sticks in this game. This game was definitely intense. I'm sure if you watched the end of the game, you saw the brawl. But there's nothing like the game. Now, in my opinion, this is upset of the year. Upset of the year, no doubt. Definitely when you're a 20-point favorite at home and the second-ranked team in the country, you can't lose to your rival. A team like Michigan, who's having a down year, right? The only reason why this team was happy was because of recruiting. Pulled a lot of recruits late in the game. So that might be the only reason a team like Michigan is happy, and that might be the only thing they have heading into this week's game. Yet they were somehow able to pull that off. Impressive by Michigan. Like I said, props goes out to the Michigan defense. Keep doing your thing. Now, game number 2 on this week's slate: Texas A&M versus the University of Texas. I remember watching the beginning of this game, and they said that this was the first time that these two teams met in 12 years. All right, let's take a look at the score summary. Arch Manning with a 15-yard touchdown run. Then you had Jaden Blue catch a 7-yard pass from Quinn Ewers in the second quarter to put this team up 14-0. Bert Auburn with a 28-yard field goal to put this team up 17-0. It would take Texas A&M a while to get their feet moving off the ground. A Will Lee interception returned for a touchdown, put this team up 17-7, and that would be the final score of this game. I had picked A&M to win this game, and it's tough to be a team like A&M and you lose a game to an in-state rival. They're going to be talking about this for a year, basically. Let's take a look at the stats. Marcel Reed, 16 for 23 passing, 146 yards, and an interception. Marcel Reed also led the team in rushing with 14 carries and 60 yards. And Terry Bussey had 2 catches for 40 yards, leading the team in receiving yards. On the Texas side of things, the victors, we had Quinn Ewers leading the team in passing with 17 for 28 passing with 218 yards. Trevion Wisner at 33 carries for 186 yards, leading the Texas Longhorns in rushing. And you had Golden, who had 3 catches for 73 yards, and he didn't have a touchdown, but he still balled out. I think that just, because I didn't watch this game, this definitely hurts to be Texas A&M. But, Texas, they came out when the lights were brightest. A&M, I feel like they haven't, showed up in this last month. Lost to South Carolina, lost to, I can't remember who they played a week ago, but they lost last week, and now you lose to Texas. And it just makes you wonder, what is this team built for? I just remembered it was Auburn, lost to Auburn last week. But what is this team built for? Well, we built for the Gasparilla Bowl, right? I honestly don't know, but this team has got a long way ahead of them. Definitely looking into Mike Elko year 2. I think he did a pretty good job turning this team around. Definitely the quarterback switch for A&M was definitely something I didn't see coming, but it happened, and I definitely think it changed A&M's season. On the Texas side of things, this was a huge win for them. It means they'll go to the SEC championship game. They'll play Georgia in Atlanta, and it's just been a wild season for Texas. Texas doesn't have the strongest strength of schedule, yet they're still going to be that team at the top of the conference with a 7-1 overall conference record, topping out beating Georgia for first place in the SEC, although Georgia beat them in the regular season. But it's a great game to watch, and we wish these two teams the best in the future. Get my SEC championship predictions later on this week. Go to Vanderbilt taking on Tennessee. The Commodores, I think. I don't know how to say this, but Vanderbilt took on Tennessee. This was supposed to be just a game to watch. Tennessee came in here favored by 10. They covered. So taking a look at the score to open up the game, Junior Sherrill had a 100-yard kickoff return to lead off the game for a touchdown. Then Cedric Alexander took it in from the 4-yard line, cap off a 7-play drive. And then this is when Texas started getting hot. Dante Thornton Jr. caught a pass from Nico Iamaleava, and caught a touchdown pass from Nico Iamaleava, putting Tennessee on the board. A little bit of back and forth with field goals. So it'd be 10-17 before Dante Thornton Jr. caught an 86-yard touchdown pass from Nico Iamaleava. And then Marcus, I don't know how to say that name, Kit Selman on an 18-yard touchdown pass from Nico Iamaleava. Cap off a 10-play drive, put Tennessee out 24-17. Mike Matthews caught a touchdown pass from Nico Iamaleava. Tennessee got a safety, and then Vanderbilt late in the game would score with a Richie Hoskins 31 touchdown pass from Diego Paiva. And then they would get the 2-point conversion, making the final score of this game, or they wouldn't get the 2-point conversion, making the final score of this game, Tennessee 36, Vanderbilt 23. So Vanderbilt will be heading to a bowl game, but they will not be going into the SEC championship game or hosting the college football playoff. I think this was a successful season for Vanderbilt, just considering they beat Alabama. Um, that might have been the biggest game of their season, and they won it. And, that's something to look back and be like, hey, we beat the number one team in the country. But everybody said we couldn't. We're going to a bowl game this year, right? That's definitely something. Obviously, they won't have the chance to say, hey, we beat our rival. But they definitely did some good things this year that they can reflect on and go into that bowl game. Now we got Tennessee, ranked number 8 in the country. Favored to win by 10. As I said before, they covered. Nico Iamaleava was 18 for 26 passing with over 250 yards, 4 touchdowns, and an interception. Dylan Sampson, 25 carries for 178 yards. And Dante Thorne, 3 catches, 118 yards for 2 touchdowns. Man, this Tennessee offense was unstoppable and elite. And, if you watched this game, you probably saw a little bit more than I did. But, looking at this game, it just shows you the fight that Tennessee has and how scary this team can be. Okay, Nico Iamaleava threw for 4 touchdowns in this game after being down 14-0. Right, Tennessee. I don't know where they're going to be in the playoff, or where they're going to be positioned, but the way they came back to win this game, incredible. We're going to move on to the 4th game of our college slate from this weekend. 8 overtime game, Georgia versus Georgia Tech. It's another game. Georgia Tech, traditionally not a team, that's traditionally not a really good team when it comes to college football, but this year was definitely one of the better years that they had. Now, when you look at Georgia, they needed to win this game to keep their college football playoff hopes alive. And they're, not to mention, if they lose in Atlanta, there's still a shot they make the college football playoff. That kind of playoff hope. Not, if they lose, they're out. When you look at the scoring summary for this game, Georgia Tech jumped out to a 17-0 lead. Then Oscar Delp caught a 2-yard touchdown pass from Carson Beck. That helped start getting the Georgia gears going. In the 3rd, moving on to the 4th, Georgia, they put up a rushing touchdown from Nate Frazier. Georgia Tech would answer, though, with a Haynes King 11-yard run. Dominic Levitt caught a 17-yard touchdown pass from Carson Beck, and then Dominic Levitt caught another catch for 3 yards against Carson Beck. From Carson Beck to tie it up at 27. Heading to overtime. So the rule in college football is once it goes past, I think, double overtime, it's just 2-point conversions. This game went to 8. So the first overtime, each team scored. The second overtime, each team scored. And then you had the 2-point conversions. Each side was getting stops. Dylan Bell caught a pass from Carson Beck. I can't remember which overtime it was in. And then Haynes King hit up Malik Rutherford for a 2-point conversion. And then Nate Frazier ran it in for a 2-point conversion after Georgia got a stop, winning Georgia the game 44-42. Game of the year, some might ask. I say game of the year. This was definitely a game. Got your hopes up, made your heart flip, and just a rivalry game too. This will be a game that will be remembered forever. And definitely if you're on both sides of this rivalry. When you're looking at the stats, you got Carson Beck, who threw for 5 touchdowns. Nate Frazier, who ran for a touchdown, including the game-winning touchdown on 11 carries for 50 yards. And a running back, I forgot his name, Cash Jones, who caught 4 passes out of the backfield for 53 yards and a touchdown. Looking on both sides of this, like I said, this might be game of the year in my book, and just both sides balling out, doing their thing. Haynes King threw for 2 touchdowns. He ran for 2 more. Over 400 total yards on the day for him. And the Singleton Jr. had 8 catches for 86 yards and a touchdown. I mean, this was just a great game. I mean, I didn't watch it, me personally. I was busy Friday night, but man, this was just an excellent game to watch. And, like I said, Georgia, they go into the SEC championship game. If you're Georgia Tech, this loss is going to hurt. You're still going to a bowl game. You still had a better season than a lot of people expected them to have. So I think props goes out to Georgia Tech for that. Our final game of this college football Saturday that I'm going to talk about today is going to be South Carolina taking on Clemson. This is a close game. This would also crack my top 10 list of games of the year. Number 12, Clemson. Number 15, South Carolina. Scoring starts in the second quarter when Cade Klubnik ran it in from 13 yards away. He's elusive when he's running that football. Lenoris Sellers ran it in from 25 yards away, tying up the score. Clemson took the lead right back with another Cade Klubnik 18-yard touchdown run. And then all it would take for South Carolina is a field goal, 14-10, and then Lenoris Sellers, another touchdown run. With a minute to go in the fourth quarter, South Carolina would get another stop, and they would win this game, ending Clemson's hopes of making the college football playoff as a wild card. They'd have to win the ACC championship game to do so. You look at the stats for South Carolina. Lenoris Sellers, 13 for 21, 164 yards and an interception. Had 2 rushing touchdowns in this game on 16 carries for 166 yards. And he hit Harbor for 3 catches and 51 yards as well. Looking at Cade Klubnik, 2 rushing touchdowns as well. Statistically, looking at it, it just looks like neither team can stop the run. South Carolina's defense forced 2 turnovers, while Clemson's defense forced 3. Clemson got more first downs and more overall yards went to South Carolina. Looking at this game, a lot of people are saying this game confirms it. South Carolina will be in the college football playoff. I don't think so. I definitely think that with so many teams competing at conference championship weekend that there is a chance that one of these teams falls out. But my opinion on South Carolina right now is that they're the first team out, excuse me. They're not in the playoff yet, but they're super close. Like I said, what they got to do to get into the playoff is maybe have a border team lose, right? Say, you have a board. I don't know what teams are going to be on the bubble yet, but I do know there's some teams that lost that could possibly be on the outside looking in. Some other outstanding college performances. Penn State putting up a huge number 44 against Maryland, and also Oregon standing on business, taking care of Washington for the first time in a while. Last year they lost, so definitely wasn't a good feeling heading into that game, but I think they definitely left it feeling better. Now I'm going to move on into the NFL Week 13 review. We're going to start with a game on Thanksgiving. I'm sure everybody enjoyed their Thanksgiving. I'm sure Lions fans did as well. 23 to 20. 23-20 final score. When you look at the scoring summary, it just looked like pure dominance by the Lions in the first half. Sam Laporta catching 2 touchdowns from Jared Goff. And then later on in the game, Caleb Williams and the Bears started to come back. Keenan Allen caught a 9-yard touchdown pass from Caleb Williams in the fourth quarter. Then DJ Moore caught a 31-yard touchdown pass from Caleb Williams in the fourth quarter. I did watch this game, and there's something that I just wanted to talk about just to get off my chest. People are going to criticize the Chicago Bears for not using, because the last play of the game, right, was a sack by Zadarius Smith. Zadarius Smith sacks Caleb Williams. And Caleb is like trying to get the guys to hustle back to the line, and at no point do the Bears call timeout and stop the clock so that they can get ready and get set. And to defend the Bears, I would say the same thing. I would say that we're not going to use a timeout here because we have 30 seconds. Let's just get everybody back to the line of scrimmage. Let's hurry up, call the play, get in the field goal range, and call timeout. That is what I would do. That's not what happened in the Bears situation. It's just that, it took them so long to get back that the last play was the last play. I wouldn't have wasted all of that time like the Bears did. I think once we got to 10 or inside of 10 seconds, okay, let's use a timeout because we're not ready yet. But I think the plan was rock solid. We're going to wait until we get back to the line of scrimmage. We're going to wait till we can get back to the line of scrimmage. We're going to check it down. We're going to get inside that field goal range. We're going to call timeout. We're going to kick a field goal, send it to overtime. That's just not what happened. But, Lions defense is a little banged up. Definitely hard to watch if you're a Lions fan. So just keep your head up. And definitely going to need some help on the defense. I know a lot of people today were talking about the Jamal Agnew signing. Jamal Adams signing. I don't think that'll help much. I just don't. Especially if they're going to put him at linebacker. I think, we put him at any one of our safety positions, it'll cause a problem. But I think he's more acquainted with the safety position than he is a linebacker position. So, hopefully the Lions can stay healthy throughout the rest of the season. As long as they just keep winning games, they'll secure a first-round bye, and then they'll just be able to rest. But I did see a couple of players are out for the year. I don't exactly know who, but I do know a couple of players out for the year. Next up, Chargers-Falcons. The Los Angeles Chargers. I know a lot of people are going to say, oh, the Chargers suck. Oh, you guys are getting built up by Jim Harbaugh. That is so very true. The Falcons jumped out to an early 7-0 lead with the Bijan Robinson rushing touchdown. The Chargers would respond by kicking 3 straight field goals to take the lead heading into halftime. And then it just came down to a game-winning pick 6 at the end of the game. And then they got the 2-point conversion to go along with it. So, I think the NFC South is definitely getting a little contested because you got Tampa Bay at 500 and you've got Atlanta at 500. And if the Falcons can't find ways to win, they're going to have some trouble. And if I'm a Falcons fan, I'm going to start questioning whether Kirk Cousins is a guy or not. I'm not saying Kirk Cousins can't turn this team around, but throwing 4 interceptions, 39 passes, that just doesn't feel right. Bijan had over 100 yards. There's something to be happy about if you're a Falcons fan. Next game, Steelers versus Bengals. The Bengals hosted the Steelers. This was a game to watch. I was busy on Sunday too, a lot of things to do, so I definitely didn't get to watch a lot of this game, but saw near the end of this game. How about the opening though? 51-yard pick six from Cam Taylor-Britt. George Pickens answers with a touchdown catch from Russell Wilson. Calvin Austin with a 23-yard touchdown catch from Russell Wilson. And then it was just back and forth. Peyton Wilson with a 21-yard scoop and score. T. Higgins with a touchdown catch from Joe Burrow. Chris Boswell with a 30-yard field goal. Yoshi Voss with a touchdown to make it 44-38. And then, onside kick. Can't get it. Steelers run out the rest of the clock. And that's just the end of the game. What to say? If you're a Bengals fan, this is troublesome. This is worrisome. Because I don't think, if I'm Joe Burrow, I want to support a defense that can't get a stop. You gave up 44 points to the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers right now, I think, are frauds. I don't think the Steelers are legit. I'm happy they're winning. Yes, absolutely. But I don't think they're legit. I don't think they're real good. Russell Wilson threw for over 400 yards, 3 touchdowns and an interception. But you're the Steelers. I'm sure you're happy. You're 9-3. You're winning every game. But this is the kind of the part of the season where you kind of started to crumble, right? You beat Cincinnati. You start to struggle, and you can't come back. I hope that Pittsburgh isn't at that point in the season. Part in the season. I hope they're not. But I don't know. And if you're a Bengals fan, yeah, man, I think the Bengals season is over, realistically. The defense can't get a stop, and if Joe Burrow is going to keep throwing for 3-4 touchdowns every game, and you can't win the game, you're not a playoff team. So, just a disappointing loss for the Bengals. Definitely sad. But if you're a Steelers fan, I'm sure you're happy with that. Up next, we get the Bills taking on the 49ers on Sunday Night Football. And Buffalo just kind of ran away with this one. Kind of. They definitely ran away with this one. I think Brock Purdy played last night. I heard that Brock Purdy played last night, but he didn't play the full game. You had Christian McCaffrey get injured. Jordan Mason also got injured. They're both going to IR. I think the rumor is McCaffrey's done for the year. But yeah, man, Buffalo. I think Buffalo is just a complete team. I think Buffalo is just, it's a good team right now, and it's gonna take a lot to stop them, because me personally, I think Buffalo's past the hardest part in their schedule. I think they've already played that. And there's definitely, sure, yes, they definitely do have to play the Lions, but after they play the Lions, there's no competition left on the Bills' schedule. The Bills could legitimately be the number 1 seed in the NFC, and I don't think a team could stop them right now. I think the only team that stands in the way are the playoff Chiefs, who aren't even trying right now. Sorry, Chiefs are frauds. But yeah. And if you're San Francisco, I'm gonna get to San Francisco. You know what? I'm gonna get to San Francisco in a minute. I'm gonna get to San Francisco in a second. Moving on to the last and final NFL game that I will talk about on today's episode. Philadelphia Eagles versus the Baltimore Ravens. let's start with the Eagles. This is definitely a game to watch. Mark Andrews caught a touchdown pass from Lamar Jackson. Justin Tucker missed the PAT. Dallas Goedert caught a touchdown pass from Jalen Hurts in the second quarter, and Jalen Hurts ran it in for a touchdown. Then Saquon Barkley, a 25-yard touchdown rush, and Jake Elliott made a field goal from about 5 yards away. And then Isaiah Likely caught an 11-yard touchdown pass from Lamar Jackson. That would end the game. Looking at this game, we talk about the battle of the two running backs, Saquon Barkley versus Derrick Henry. Looking at the game, I think Saquon Barkley is the best running back. Don't get me wrong, 19 carries for 82 yards is definitely impressive, but I just don't think the Ravens can pull it together, if you know what I mean. It's just Baltimore. They just play good teams for the rest of their schedule. Play the Steelers, play the Texans. It's gonna be difficult, I think, for the Steelers to win their division, or excuse me, for the Ravens to win the division. I don't know about the Ravens yet. And a lot of people are saying Lamar's MVP. I don't think so. I think Saquon Barkley is either MVP, or we could go with the obvious choice, Jared Goff. So, there's one of those two options. Great game to watch yesterday. Definitely had some fun watching this game. Our final thing that we're going to do today is we're going to answer some questions that I wrote up from this weekend. Let's start with the first and biggest question. Are the Ohio State Buckeyes cooked? No. The reason why is because you got a little leeway to fall. Obviously, being the second team in the country, losing to a team like Michigan definitely doesn't help. But I do think you're going to have a little bit of leeway. I think you fall down maybe 7, 8 spots. Nothing too major where you fall out of the top 12 altogether, but I think as long as you stay inside that top 10, you're good. Second question. Matt Eberflus got fired on Friday. Did the Bears make the right choice in firing him? Yes. I think Matt Eberflus was the problem last year, but they gave him time because he did a little bit of things right near the end of the season. This year, I don't know what they're doing. I just think that the Bears have so many problems. The biggest problem is with the general manager, where I think you just need to clean house. Just get everybody out of the organization and do what the Lions did a couple of years ago, which is just get rid of everybody. Fire the GM, fire the head coach, and then hire a GM and a head coach. Hire a GM first, then hire a head coach that the GM wants. And have those two be on the same page. Right now with the Bears, the GM is on a high level, then the head coach, and you fired your offensive coordinator, which means your defensive coordinator is the only guy that's been there from the beginning of the season. And it's confusing right now with the Bears, and you mess this up, Caleb's going to want out of Chicago. That's kind of how we're looking at it. Caleb Williams is a generational talent, and you brought in all these pieces to go and help him, right? But you kept the one piece that could ruin this, and that was your head coach and your general manager not being on the same page. The last question I got. Are the 49ers done for the year? Yes. Their season is over. Here's why. Christian McCaffrey, he's out for the year. I don't think McCaffrey is the 49ers' entire offense, but he definitely impacted their game planning and how they wanted to approach this season, especially considering they had a tough first part of the season. I think with San Francisco playing in a tough division, season's over. Right? They're done, basically. Because now McCaffrey's not going to come back for the rest of the season, and you still have to find a new offensive plan with now no McCaffrey and no Ayuk, and maybe no Purdy. So, that was my last question, and that's all I got for today. Amazing episode. I always enjoy you for listening, so thank you so much for listening, and as always, tune in next time and bring a friend.